For parents who are observing their children working on their remote education, you might quickly realize how inefficient email and conference calls really are. Hey, this is Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations. I know a lot of professionals use conference calls and telephone and a lot of remote interactions when working in business. And very often there are communications challenges that are left lacking and, in the sense, make it difficult to do everyday work. But observing someone else using the computer to do day-to-day activities such as distance learning, you'll quickly realize how inefficient email communications can be, how inefficient the telephone is, and how inefficient it can be to interact only through a non-sequential or split time interaction. Let me explain that. So many assignments that are very free scheduled, meaning you've got 5 things to complete and you can do them in any order, and as long as you get them complete and reply, you're done. Well, that causes the responses to come back at a variety of times, which makes the addressing of those responses not very time effective. Now, of course, in college you have deadlines. Everybody's got to get their work in by the deadline. The deadline, some people turn their work in early, some people turn in their work on time, some people turn in their work late. But in a physical environment, you can give a prompt to get an assignment done. In a virtual environment, you have no prompts. You have simply how you organize your time. And most people are not good at organizing their time. If you have 5 activities to do, and they're all due by the end of the week, do you sit down and prioritize those activities? Do you sit down and block them out on your calendar? Do you sit down and give yourself a small plan for each activity? Most people don't. And when you observe your children doing remote learning, it becomes obvious that it's difficult with technology challenges. It's difficult with how people communicate, so the time sequencing. You have to wait for a message to come through. You have a question and you send a message out and you're waiting for the response. There are distractions. So I'm going to give you 2 pieces of advice. One is that you're going to create an environment that facilitates the outcomes that you're looking for. You're going to choose a computer to work with that has just the things you need to work, and that's it, nothing else. You're going to focus in an environment that's free of distractions, and you're going to set up a workspace that is a workspace of itself. So you have an office for business work, you have a private office for home and like bookkeeping and such, and you have outdoor places, indoor places. Now, you don't have to have a huge home for this, but choose the environments that facilitate the outcome that you're looking for. And finally, look at how you manage your day-to-day activities. Now, we have a number of special reports on this, especially getting more done. But what do you do when you have a list of work that needs to be done? Do you ever ask the question, does this work need to be done? Have you ever asked the question about how can I delegate this work? As far as I'm concerned, if you have 2 people who can do a job and create equal and similar quality outcomes, you would always choose the person that costs less. And so if you can do a job or someone else can do the job, like housekeeping, for example, I'm perfectly capable of vacuuming the house and mopping the floors and dusting and all that, but other people are also capable of doing this particular job, and they can do it in less time with fewer dollars. And that allows me to take time to go do something else. The work is equally important. However, I'm able to apply my skills in other areas in a concentrated way where the other person's skills may not be able to match, at least not at this point. There are opportunities in delegation, there are opportunities in how you do the work, and there are opportunities in how you communicate the work that needs to get done. If you're working on a project that requires other people, you can facilitate weekly meetings, you can facilitate daily meetings, you can facilitate a morning and afternoon session, the daily huddle that we talk about with my administrative staff. Every day we meet for 15 minutes in the morning to establish the day and the next couple of days. Now, the reason we establish the next couple of days is because if we only have 15 minutes. So if we cover what we're going to do today, and then we cover what we're going to do the next couple of days, we talk about deadlines, next actions, follow-ups. A person can work independently throughout the day. And then at the end of the day, there's a daily wrap up, and we're done. Now, an administrative person is taking care of my contacts, my correspondence, and my calendar. And so they may need everyday interactions, where someone who is like a CPA or an accountant may just need the end of the week. They may just need once a month. It really depends on what you're doing. The best way to know how to approach or apply resources within the context of your everyday activity, because we can't just always be physical, is to establish systems and processes associated with the outcomes that you want. So today we do have to communicate with people over the phone. We've got the COVID-19 issue. We've got physical distance between ourselves and our customers, or ourselves and our vendors. And so the telephone is a necessary evil. The email is a necessary evil. We just have to understand which channel is best and most appropriate. Now, some of the channels that purportedly make it easier to communicate, like your mobile devices, video conferencing meetings, those platforms have other concerns, such as privacy, data protection, and such. I've seen executives wander around with 5,000 to 10,000 customer names on their mobile devices, and then they're receiving calls directly on these mobile devices. So they're getting calls at inopportune times from volumes of individuals, and then if they lose their phone or device, the device contains proprietary information, documents, presentations, individual contact information, and it just becomes a risk beyond the miscommunication. We also have challenges with cybersecurity, where a device may get compromised and spam all your friends. You could have challenges if you're doing regular international travel. Now, I know during the coronavirus, nobody's traveling, but do you really need to have everything with you all the time? And again, this is the example. You look at your kid. Your kid is sitting in front of a computer, most likely the computer they play video games on, and the context of that environment is ready for distraction. There's YouTube. Now, teachers are sending kids to YouTube, and so you watch one video, then you watch another video. The next thing you know, they're making suggestions. They're putting kids in front of the same computers where they play video games, and so you've got gaming temptations. Now, there is a certain amount of discipline that you need to have, or your child needs to have, in order not to get distracted. But really, when you think about it, these devices are always on. These devices beg for your attention. These devices are designed to monetize your attention. And these devices are ubiquitous with just constant presence. How do you overcome this to produce the outcomes that you desire? Again, it's your environment, and it's how you communicate what needs to get done. Now, if you're communicating with yourself, it could be as easy as a work journal. It could be as easy as an environment designed for that particular type of work. It could be as easy as bringing your team together on a regular basis to focus on appropriate actions and outcomes. Now, we can go into performance measures and a lot of the other factors that are required. We can also go into the benefit of scheduling your day so that you have little breaks in the day where you can check up on things. But ultimately, it's about understanding the outcomes that you desire. What is it that you want to accomplish? Because it's really easy to get caught in this ongoing cycle of do it this way, this needs to be done, put out this fire, follow up on this item. And it's very easy to get distracted by all that. Just the same as it's easy to get distracted by a video game or a YouTube video or a social media post. But ultimately, you are responsible for the outcomes that you create. And what if there was a way that you could focus more on the outcomes rather than all the steps necessary to create that outcome, and ultimately streamline and drive towards the success, the influence, and the results that you're looking for? I'm Justin Hitt from Inside Strategic Relations. If you have questions about this or any other program, visit us at www.insidestrategicrelations.com. I'm here to help you create and keep profitable customers and transform business relationships into profits guaranteed. This program has been about an observation that you most likely see in children and folks who don't usually use the computer for interactions or distance learning or interacting with their peers. And I hope it is an opportunity for you to reflect on your efficiency in these environments and how you can make them easier. If you have an immediate need, we are available by telephone for consultation. However, we have a number of reports and programs that are probably the best path to start with since things are pretty busy here all the time. I can be reached at www.insidestrategicrelations.com, where asking your questions may get you featured on a podcast, may get you an answer in a pretty quick turnaround through either the newsletter, the podcast, or other sources. Again, I'm Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations. Thanks for listening.